I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 148, Penny Racers. Released in 1998, this game was developed by Locomotive Corporation and published by THQ in the US. So yet another racing game on this console, and just from looking at it for literally 2 seconds, it's obvious this one isn't going to try to be realistic. So this already had me going in with a positive mindset. I personally had never heard of this game in my life, which seems to be a common occurrence with this console. There's just so many games. How would anyone know about them all? Anyway, I feel like this could be decent. Let's get into it. The main single player mode in this game is the race series, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. There were multiple classes, so I started with the C class. I could pick any of the tracks from country, lakeside, harbor, mountain, ruins, volcano, alpine, caves, or ice. Guess I'll start with country. There were 13 different cars to choose from, including a dump truck and a food truck. It wasn't clear if they had different stats. So there was a settings screen with tons of different parts to change. When I changed the engine, it popped up saying violation. It wasn't really clear what any of these changed, so I mostly left it alone for now. And then it was time for the first race. Right away I noticed a lot of the other cars have cannons on the top. What the heck, where's my weapon? It's pretty much just chaos, honestly. Collisions happen frequently and cars flip around when they do. Man, the drifting in this is nuts too. You don't even press a drift button or anything, it just does that naturally. It's kinda fun though, it's just chaos in racing form. This race had 3 laps, with the laps being about 30 seconds apiece, so it was over quick. I finished in 2nd place, not bad for my first ever go at it. When the race ended, it showed some incredibly fast menuing going on, and I was lost. Basically, the top 3 finishers in the race get to steal a car part from the bottom 3. So with this, you can improve your vehicle by winning more races. For some reason, you can swap one of your parts, but why would you choose anything other than none? Now there was a silver Q on the country track, signifying I achieved 2nd place there. According to the manual, you need to achieve 3rd place or better in all courses to move on. Now I had a spin item equipped, which causes some hilarious results when you use it. You're supposed to ram the other drivers with it. I didn't realize at the time, but the weather affects this game heavily. Since it's raining, I just could not drive well at all because I had street tires equipped. Like, some of these sharp turns are just not happening if your tires are wrong. Not to mention the other racers ramming me in the back straight into the wall. Dude, I was getting obliterated this entire race. Somehow, I managed to get all the way up to 1st place at the end, but the race had quite the chaotic finish. What is this game? I lost. Yeah, that could have gone better. This game is just constant crashing. Since I got 4th, they were able to steal my parts. However, they chose not to take anything, which is maybe the devs taking it easy on you to start off. Still not realizing my tires were the problem, I changed the body of my car to a sports car. It took like 6 tries or so, but I managed to finish in 2nd place by just grinding it out enough. I decided to steal a cannon power-up this time around so that I'd have a decent weapon. Next race was the harbor, and oh man, I loved having the cannon. I can contribute even more to this explosions everywhere, and the game has a lot of them. This track was such a step up in difficulty from the last ones. Basically, you're driving through this town along the seaside, and it almost reminds me of Monaco from F1. Yeah, no, except the parts where you drive through a church that's just open for some reason, as well as ramping off a drawbridge. Like, look at this nonsense. I'm just bouncing all over the place. Then this idiot rams me to cause both of us to fall in the water. What is that guy's problem? Seriously, what is this AI? I think they coded this car to be drunk, because no one should be driving like that. I did learn that when you finish a lap, it gives you more ammo for whatever your weapon is. So it's good to make sure you use it every lap to not waste the refill. I managed to sneak out 2nd place at the end of this, good enough to move on. Still not understanding I needed to switch tires, it was time for mountain. The highlight here is this segment with falling boulders. Reminds me of that one track in Mario Kart 64. I just could not accelerate for anything with street tires on an off-road track though. Luckily, I realized I could just pause and restart the race with no penalties, so that's nice. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and music. I think the game looks really nice graphically, although some people don't like the art design. Personally, the aesthetics remind me a lot of Snowboard Kids. It's a bit frustrating though because the game does lag a decent amount, but it's not consistent lag. You definitely want the frame rate to be stable if it's a racing game. The music is certainly a choice. It's not necessarily bad, but there's just an overuse of trumpets. Like, why do these songs have them blaring so often? Not to mention how the computer uses their horn aggressively all race long. It's just a very loud game. It took quite a few tries, but I squeezed out a 3rd place finish. I stole a turbo power up from another racer. Then it was time for Ruins. Weird that this one is classified as off-road because most of the track is on pavement. So this has us going through some kind of jungle type area with waterfalls and whatnot. Then there's the ruins themselves, of course, with spears coming up from the ground. Good thing I had the boost because there's a part where you're forced to drive through the water, so it worked amazing here. Somehow I managed to get 1st place on this one, probably because of the boost. Then came the volcano, which is probably the toughest track. First of all, you have the usual getting battered by the other cars constantly. Then there's this bridge after entering the volcano itself that is just way too hard to not fall off. It comes straight out of a tight turn and there's no barriers on the side. Of course, even if you take the bridge safely, you've got to deal with these other idiots crossing it recklessly. My goodness, the collisions are absurd in this game. When you do take the bridge smoothly though, it feels pretty awesome. Overall, it's fun to drive on. With a couple mishaps from the cars in front of me, I barely took 3rd place. Then it was time for Alpine. This was my first snow track, and somehow still I wasn't swapping my tires out. Using street tires when it's snowy exacerbates the bad driving so much. My acceleration was basically non-existent. This track is just a standard loop without any notable features. It's mostly to introduce the snow terrain, although there is a tunnel, which is cool I guess. I thought I was going to get out of this on my 2nd try, but I got scammed. No, what? How? I was in 2nd. Come on, dude. After a couple more tries, I did get out though. Driving in snow sucks so much. Caves is the next track, another icy one. This time, it's definitely not a simple loop. There's a cave you go in with sharp turns leading into water. Also like falling icicles and all that. Oh man, the only thing helping me here is that the computer also sucks, but this is still the C class. I got out of this one a bit lucky with another car ramming me straight to the finish for a boost. The last track is just called Ice. Well, at least I know what I'm getting into. This one has insane turns. I was having a problem where if I turned too much, I'd spin out. This brings me to a weird trick this game has where you can do a barrel roll. It can help navigate sharp turns, but I don't know, it makes you slow down so much anyway. The coolest part of this track is going through the underwater tunnel. I'd love to drive through something like that. It seems so awesome. So this track was my downfall. It was absolutely impossible to win this race with normal tires. I realized I needed snow ones, but I didn't have any. The only way to obtain new parts is go back and win old races to try to steal them. So that's just what I did. Thankfully, it only took 3 races at the old country track to find some. Now I was prepared. Man, it made an insane difference. I actually accelerated at the start like a normal track. It was like I was driving on a regular road, you know? I was so far ahead of everyone right away, and I think it's because none of them had snow tires except that guy I stole them from. It took a couple tries, but I got out of there with a 2nd place finish. It shows a bit of fanfare congratulating you on winning the C class, then some sort of credits-ish roll. It's showing all the items you obtained. Man, can you imagine unlocking every single one of those? Well, with that, it was time for B class. I gained more points for adding parts, which was real nice. Now I could use all the best stuff I currently had, which I wasn't able to before. Unfortunately, all the tracks are the same. Just the other racers have better parts for use now. With the cars getting better upgrades, some of the speed boosts got a little crazy. At least they thought to put a hitbox on that ceiling. Anyway, there wasn't really anything interesting in Class B. Like, they didn't even throw in a secret new track at the end or anything like that. I didn't have trouble with any of the races. Well, then I had to do Class A. I gained 4 more points for car parts, which is amazing. This also meant the computer would have new stuff to steal. I got stuck on the volcano this time around, like I had no chance, so I went back and farmed some parts. After a while, I noticed one of the opponents had a special part, the top-end S engine. The best I'd seen so far is 9, so surely this must be amazing. There are 3 engines, acceleration, top-end, and stock, with stock being a mix of the two. It ended up taking nearly a half hour of grinding, but I did manage to escape the volcano. My goodness, that track is so tough. None of the other tracks were any trouble though. It's a bit weird how hard the volcano was, honestly. Again, no new tracks, the exact same ones as the first class. Well, gotta go once more. The final class of the game is the AA class. For some reason, no AAA class. In this class, I had infinite points for my car. This let me use all the weird stuff, like the spoiler and the taxi sign. Anyway, none of these tracks gave me trouble. Even Volcano was done on the first try. It's pretty disappointing you don't unlock new tracks on each class, but whatever. This time after the parts list, it showed the actual credits of the game, albeit incredibly slowly. The only other thing this game offers besides multiplayer is a built-in track creator. Honestly, it reminds me of building the footpath in Roller Coaster Tycoon. There's a decent bit of customization, but you can tell it's primitive. Good for the time period though. You can play the track by yourself or in multiplayer, although it doesn't get inserted into the circuit. I could see it being kinda fun back in the day to play your friends' creations, you know? But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Penny Racers. I feel like this game had a lot of promise, but it just missed the mark. It's always interesting to check out a kart racer like this on a Nintendo console when you're competing with Mario Kart, and specifically for the N64, also Diddy Kong Racing. The driving physics are quite wild, but it makes sense given how chaotic this game is, you know, with all the explosions. The trading of parts is an interesting idea, and I could see it causing some fights among friends and siblings back in the day. The problem is you get the parts you need quite quickly in the single player mode, so it starts to become a bit pointless. While there are a decent amount of tracks in the game, you unlock all of them from the start. I think it would feel better if you unlocked new ones in each new class. Overall, it's an okay game, but it definitely doesn't stand out as a better racing game. I gave it a 4.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 2.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. 243 games on the list. Could be any of them. Let's see which one we're playing next. 3, 2, 1, go! 172? What's that? Oh, we are playing the next Quake game, which is Quake 64. Alrighty then. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.